Hey Marcus, it's Ryan. I received this weird email. It says something bad happened at the university where your parents work. I don't want to alarm you, but I would like to check it out. What do you say?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kieren, and yes, welcome back to a brand new episode of a new survival horror, and today we're actually going to be taking a look at a game that might be an actual decent looking modern survival horror title. A game that has limited combat, backtracking, and most of the features that you would usually find in like a classically Resident Evil. Actually, it does kind of remind me of Resident Evil 7, which is the latest survival horror game in the RE series, which was in first person and actually featured a VR mode. Probably wondering, Kieren, why did you just say this might be an actual decent looking modern survival horror game? The key word there is modern, because it takes things from modern horror games and actually implements it with decent classic survival horror mechanics. The thing is, survival horror games I've covered recently either are purely walking simulated horror games that nothing really happens in them, there's not really many mechanics, to games that really want to fully embrace the classic survival horror genre, like Fear the Dark Unknown, Injection, that have the fixed camera angles and stuff like that, but there's never a game that really meshes the two together perfectly well. I think Resident Evil 7 is probably the most recent example in my head. It does it really well, and this game kind of reminds me of it. That's why I kind of brought that up. But anyway, yes, this game is Follia, Dear Father, and the game actually first caught my eye when one of the developers actually followed me on Twitter, then, immediately unfollowed, indicating it was kind of a, follow for follow type of dealio, but, out of curiosity, I did check out the game's Steam page, and was actually quite surprised to see a decent looking game. Follia is being developed by Italian developers. By the way, if I butcher these names, I do apologise. Marco Garcia? Hang on, I'm going to go get my sister. Literally, there's names here, Marco something and then Alfonso something.
Okay, so, do you know where he's from?
Italy.
Okay, so it'll be like Mirko Scarici.
Mirko Scarici.
And Alfonso Prota.
Alfonso Prota. So those two developers under the name Real Game Machine. But yes, let's not delay too long and jump right into Follia, Dear Father. Our story here follows Marcus Pitt, a young man whose only claim to fame is that both of his parents work at a university. Marcus is drawn into a world of horror that has emerged onto the campus of his parents' uni. Throughout his terrifying journey, he will have to fight back to make it out alive with his sanity intact. The only thing that keeps him moving forward through the slaughterhouse is the hope to find his parents alive and well. Which, probably isn't gonna happen since it's a horror game. Both of them are probably dead, most likely dead. In the game's trailer, Marcus is contacted by his friend Ryan, who asks Marcus to accompany him to the university after he received a kind of dodgy email saying that something bad has happened there, but no other details describing what actually happened. Now, this is actually a classic horror movie, or just in general, a good wee villain trap to lure the player in, or to lure the main character in, but for some reason they went with an email here, which I don't think I would trust an email. Maybe a phone call saying, hey, by the way, your uni kinda turned into like this kind of weird haunted horrific dimension thing, whatever the fuck's going on there, man, instead of just a random email being dropped. I'm guessing Ryan gets, offed in the first 10 minutes of the game by this wee demon grudge girl that's crawling in about the floor, or he's probably the character that we, occasionally meet up with throughout the story after getting separated at the beginning of the game. Because that's another little key trope there, you always get separated by your side characters and you always kind of run into them here and there. Let's be honest, it's probably one of these situations, unless Ryan turns out to be the true mastermind of this whole operation and, ends up being the last boss fight. Looking at the trailer, the game is giving me a mix of Evil Within 1 and Outlast 1 vibes, because on one hand it does seem like the things happening here are paranormal, and then on the other hand it does seem like it's a case of Outlast 1 where there's this evil organisation or evil scientist or some shit just, causing evil shit happening everywhere in the university, and by the looks of it, for quite some time, judging by the amount of corpses that have kind of mounted up throughout the uni. I do have a feeling though that it was Marcus's parents who are responsible for the mess at the uni, or maybe they just had like a part to play, but weren't necessarily the main villains. So that was the quick story synopsis, but of course, I know why you're all here, and that is to find out whether or not this game is just another PT clone where you just walk down hallways and that's about it, or if it's an actual decent survival horror game. Now, from observing the trailers, you would probably assume that this game is just another Outlast or another Amnesia style game, as I did before I read the details on the Steam page. Follia aspires to be a somewhat classic yet modern survival horror experience, much like Resident Evil 7, which I mentioned before. The game will be in first person to fully immerse the player in the world, but having first person also allows the game to be played in VR. Do you know what, I was actually talking about this in the stream before, where I wanted a full survival horror game in VR, kinda like Resident Evil 7, because we don't actually get that. All the horror games that we have in VR are just walking simulators, and bear in mind, that's okay. I do like a good haunted house experience, but I also do like having a genuine game that I can play as well. So, you know, I kinda want another one of those games. Technically, Injection is gonna have a VR type mode at some point, but I don't know what's happening with it. Also, this won't be one of those cases where you can only play it on platforms such as Oculus and the Vive. No, you can actually play Follia VR on PSVR as well, which is fantastic because PSVR never really gets full VR titles much. And like, they always get like weird side indie games that you can only play for like an hour or something like that, or like just short little experiences. But for those of you who, which is probably most of you who don't care about VR, Follia will have a good amount of exploration like earlier survival horror titles. They highlight this on their Steam page by saying that the player will be rewarded for backtracking through the university. This will probably be like getting additional healing items or weapons for going back to a room that was previously locked before in an earlier game. They do keep bringing up exploration in regards to Follia, which gives me hope that the game will be like the earlier Resident Evil games, in a way where you can, you know, freely walk around the mansion and unlock rooms in various parts of the mansion along the way, instead of this one little linear pathway you just keep going down and you unlock doors and you feel like you're progressing and you feel like you're backtracking, but you're not really. It's still a much linear path. Items are a big part of Follia, with the player being able to pick up and use certain weapons to defend themselves or block his path from a pursuing enemy. On the game's Facebook page, we see things like a machete and a crowbar being items that we can find ourselves using, but these two items actually serve two different purposes. Purposes such as an additional attack power with a machete, or the ability to open doors and block off passages with a crowbar. These items can do damage to enemies as well, but will it necessarily kill them? We need to kind of see on that part, because I haven't really seen too much on that. Maybe it'll be like Resident Evil 7. I know I keep comparing that game, I'm sorry, but like, maybe it'll be like in that game where you can only down people, or maybe it'll be like in Remothered, where each of these items like the machete and all that are just kind of sort of defense items in such a way where you can just stun them for a little while then run off, you know. Weapons won't be the only things that you find will come in use though. Since it is the dead of night when Marcus decides to, you know, check out the uni, he'll need items to light up his path in order to proceed. Items such as the standard lighter, a flashlight which might need batteries by the way, the image kind of hints towards that, and a nice wee DSLR camera which only lights up an area for a split second because of its flash. By the way, I see the whole camera trick being used in other horror games as well. The most recent example in Visage, where they do that, which does work really well. It does introduce various jump scares as well, which I think the jump scares there kind of work because it is the flash of the camera. It is you creating that jump scare instead of just this big scripted event, you know. Becoming the pursuer with a lone machete does sound pretty cool, but it isn't necessarily ideal in this situation, and that is where stealth comes in. We don't really know too much about the stealth mechanics, but it could very well end up being things like you would see normally in Outlast or Remothered. And if you haven't played either of those games, which you should by the way, especially Remothered's another really good survival horror game by an Italian developer. Those games allowed the player to hide in lockers, under couches, and behind objects to evade certain unbeatable enemies. Can imagine the same thing here, but very much like in Remothered, we would have those certain defense-like items that gives us that edge. So you're probably asking yourself, Kieren, what kind of horrors will we be dashing away from in Follia? Well, I got answers, but they're not very in-depth ones that you probably would like. In Follia, the main antagonist appears to be like this weird little tiny demon lassie that likes to crawl about the floor and come at you from the shadows. How does she differ from all the other, you know, little lady ghosties that we encounter in other games like Visage, PT, and many others? Well, she doesn't really, you know, look unique in any sort of way. That's what I'm gathering from the trailer that we saw. She does appear like the typical 2019 horror game antagonist, which is basically a screaming ghosty that chases you about. There does seem to be a few ugly pricks as well cutting about the uni, but none are really that interesting enough for me to talk about and really get into, and we don't actually see them enough to actually warrant an entire paragraph of me writing their sort of tactics, what they're about, how they change the gameplay and all that. I don't like the developers don't actually talk about the enemies that much, which is kind of surprising. Maybe they're keeping it a secret, I don't really know. We'll just need to wait to see. So wrapping up the video with my actual thoughts on the game. Well, Follia is quite interesting. It's one of those things where they're promising a lot. It's strange. It's so strange because the trailer says one thing, and then when you go and read like the gameplay details that the developers are given, it seems like it's a completely different game than what they're sort of showing off. You know, like the trailer gives it such a normal, average 2019 horror game feel with the fucking demon lady, with like just the sneaking mechanics and stuff like that. And then when you read the description, it does seem like a clock tower type game. So it's so strange. I think I need to see more. They have shown off a lot of VR stuff, but not online. They've turned up at conventions and stuff like that, and people play the VR version. So I don't really know what it's like to play the game. We've not really seen too much gameplay on it, and that's because they've only really released one trailer and then the game is coming out. Special thanks to my brilliant patrons, Proxy1, Devil, TJ Monster, and Cat G for your continued support over on my Patreon. Do really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. But yeah, that is Follia, Dear Father. What do you think about it? Let me know down in the comments below. I will appreciate every single comment. I do love your comments. I do like reading the comments. I do like reading your thoughts on them. And by the way, if you do have any other survival horror game that you want me to cover, then leave that down in the comment section as well, and I will check that out. And hopefully the fucking YouTube spam thing doesn't spam, or doesn't like declare your comment as spam, because then I need to go in, you know, approve it and all that, because most of the comments that appear in there aren't actually spam. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and I shall see you all there. Bye bye.